624. You know, I almost felt like maybe David Duke's endorsement of Donald Trump was a setup. Like they knew that Trump would because Trump gives up to no, because what they wanted him to say, I think the interview on CNN was, will you basically denounce David Duke and the KKK and say that those votes are not needed in your campaign? And Trump's answer to that was, I'm trying to see if I have the audio on that. Oh, yeah, I actually have the audio. And you'll hear how he responded to it. There's two issues. First of all, he retweeted a Mussolini quote. And, again, I think that was a setup because Trump, anytime there's a quote, he just retweets it. So they're like, well, that's a Mussolini quote. And Trump's answer to that is, listen, I don't know anything about that. I don't know about people. I know about good quotes. And that's a good quote. Somehow, Gawker.com managed to get Donald Trump to retweet a quote from dictator Mussolini. Was the Italian dictator who sided with the Nazis, of course, in World War II. The quote was, "It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep." And on NBC yesterday, Trump did not apologize. He actually defended the quote. Here we go.
It was a Mussolini quote, but you didn't know it was Mussolini when you retweeted it. It said, "It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep." That's a famous Mussolini quote.
Have you ever sat with someone who can never be wrong? And no matter what, there would never be the words that would come out of their mouth to say, well, I was wrong there, and I apologize, but let's move forward. Never, ever, ever will they say they were wrong. And that is, remember Fonz on Happy Days? He couldn't even see the word. That's Donald Trump.
He tweeted it. Do you like the quote? Did you know it was Mussolini?
It's okay to know it's Mussolini. Look, Mussolini was Mussolini. It's okay to. It's a very good quote. It's a very interesting quote. And I know it. I saw it. I saw what. And I know who said it. But what difference is it?
Now, who would ever know? Who would ever hear that quote? If you're in Jeopardy, it's like, here's the quote. And you'd be like, that's Mussolini. You never would really know, right? Well, now he does.
Whether it's Mussolini or somebody else, it's certainly a very interesting quote.
Well,
that's probably why I have between Facebook and Twitter 14 million people and other people don't. It's a very interesting quote, and people can talk about it.
Do you want to be associated with a fascist?
No, I want to be associated with interesting quotes. And people, I have almost 14 million people between Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all of that. Right. And we do interesting things. And I sent it out, and certainly, hey, it got your attention, didn't it?
Coming up, I'm gonna tell you the latest rumbling of a third-party campaign. Go ahead, Kristine. Sorry.
No, do you think that just because Mussolini said it doesn't mean? Do you agree that he shouldn't have tweeted it out?
No, however, no, I don't think that he didn't know.
Right.
I mean, right?
Right.
You think Trump knew that it was a Mussolini quote?
No.
However, if it's a Mussolini quote and you're in the middle of a presidential campaign, wouldn't you say, listen, if I knew it was a Mussolini quote, I probably wouldn't have tweeted it out. But it was a good quote. When I read it, I'm like, wow, this kind of applies to me.
Right.
But knowing now that it's Mussolini and he might have been talking about, I don't know, the Jews or who knows what.
Right.
I wouldn't have tweeted it out. So can you fault him for tweeting it out? No. I don't think you can.
Right, his defense, though.
Please?
Right.
Are you kidding? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Holy moly. The only thing better than that was his David Duke deal. Former KKK leader David Duke endorsed Donald Trump the other day, and the media has been asking Trump to disavow the endorsement. Trump was on State of the Union yesterday, and Jake Tapper asked him 3 times to condemn David Duke. And here is Donald Trump's answer.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, did he endorse me or what's going on? Because, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about.
But I guess the question from the Anti-Defamation League is, even if you don't know about their endorsement, there are these groups and individuals endorsing you. Would you just say unequivocally you condemn them and you don't want their support?
Well, I have to look at the group. I mean, I don't know what group you're talking about. You wouldn't want me to condemn a group that I know nothing about. I have to look. If you would send me a list of the groups, I will do research on them, and certainly I would disavow if I thought there was something wrong. But you may have groups in there that are totally fine, and it would be very unfair. So give me a list of the groups, and I'll let you know.
Okay. I mean, I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
Remember, I was mentioning the person that you know that will never, ever, ever say that anything is wrong, and they completely try to argue the point. This is Trump. I mean, he doesn't know the group, the KKK. I don't know anything about them, but get me some information. I'll do some research, and I'll get back with you on that.
Listen, if he's president, we're going to be doing so much research. You're going to be sick of research, okay?
It reminds me, this Donald Trump thing only reminds me of this.
Mr. Keyrock, are you ready to give your summation?
It's just Keyrock, Your Honor, and yes, I'm ready. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm just a caveman. I fell in some ice and later got thawed out by some of your scientists. Your world frightens and confuses me. Sometimes the honking horns of your traffic make me want to get out of my BMW.
I'm just a caveman. I don't know your human ways. I don't understand this KKK thing. But I'll do some research, and I'll come back, and I'll give you my answer. I'm just a caveman. I don't understand how Trump cannot just come out and say, hey, listen, I don't believe in this sort of white supremacy. We're just going to plow forward with our campaign. Instead, he won't even answer to it. Does it make you uncomfortable?
Well,
oh, the silence.
So uncomfortable we can't even talk.
Speaking of the silence, and here's the latest, and this is coming from conservatives, that they may feel compelled to run a conservative as a third-party candidate against Donald Trump, knowing that it will cost them the presidency. But the fear is that if Donald Trump is, and it looks like, I got to tell you, by all the polls right now, you could have everybody else get out of the race, and Trump is still in the lead. His numbers are up over 50% right now. So if Trump gets the endorsement, which, like we say, it looks pretty good right now, the fear is that many conservatives will just stay home because they're certainly not voting for Hillary Clinton, and they cannot vote for Donald Trump, and they just will not vote. Therefore, what gets hurt? What do you lose? You end up losing the Senate and the House. So to keep people coming out and to give them someone to vote for, the thought is being thrown around. And whether or not this happens all remains to be seen. But the idea that maybe running a conservative candidate to give at least conservatives someone to get out and vote for so that it protects the House and protects the Senate and, the governorships and everything else out there. What are your thoughts on that?
One of the biggest knocks on Trump early on was if you don't get the nomination, you're going to ruin this for us because you're going to run as a third-party candidate, and you're going to split the votes, and the Democrats are going to walk in. Now that he's the front runner to be the Republican,
the solution,
they're going to run a third-party candidate against him? Oh, come on.
That is the proposed solution. But here's the problem. What happens if conservatives don't come out? I think the problem becomes really, really big right now, and it's very likely that tomorrow is going to be a very huge day for Donald Trump. So they say. And we also talk about the Rubio-Trump battle going back and forth. One's making fun of one's ears. The other one's making fun of the spray tan. This is like a little kid argument out on the playground, a one-up argument. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, listen, we'll get to that. Also, big news over the weekend as Claudia Tenney, the Assemblywoman, was not endorsed by her Republican Party in Oneida County. We'll be talking about that one today, and we'll also have the Republican chair, Pete Sobels, who's coming on a little later on this morning, along with some others. Big weekend in sports, too. We'll get to all of this stuff coming up. Hold tight. 6:33, Kristine with news coming up next on WIBX.